Melissa, I guess.
All right, mission accomplished.
You
Whenever
ready?
you're ready.
Okay. Well, welcome to the August 3rd Coos County Board of Commissioners meeting. Would you please rise and join me in the Pledge of Allegiance? Please take your hats off, too. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. All right. It's nice to see everyone. Generally, we just have staff, so it's good that people are out today. I'm reading the sign up, and it has to do with vaccines and masks and everything. I do believe Commissioner Cribbins has a letter we're going to send to the governor that she wanted to do on the late agenda item today. So if you would read that, please.
Do you want me to read that first?
Read the
Okay.
whole thing, yeah.
All right. It says, Governor Brown, we are writing this letter to express our concerns about the mask mandate for K-12 schools for the 2021-2022 school year. We are strongly opposed to this one-size-fits-all approach to public health. We believe that these decisions should be made at the local level, taking into consideration the local issues and constraints. In late June, we were assured by your office that all future COVID-19 restriction decisions would be made at the local level. Over the summer, many districts across the state operated summer school and enrichment programs without masking or social distancing, and there were no health issues as a result. We know that children are not at significant risk from COVID, nor do they transmit it frequently. We do not believe that masking school children is the best way to prevent the spread of COVID-19. Governor, we ask you to reconsider this decision. We believe that decisions on public health are best made at the local level by the Board of Health. As county commissioners and as the Board of Health, we are best positioned to determine what is needed for our community to protect against the COVID virus, as well as future epidemiological challenges. Sincerely, and signed by the 3 commissioners.
Okay. So for citizens' comments, Phil Thompson's first. We have a big list today, so if somebody's
Good
already
morning.
said what you are going to say, you don't just say, I agree with that person.
Thank you, Bobby. Yeah.
And come on up so the thing can get you.
Morning,
Morning.
Phil.
Good morning. Good morning to the whole board, I'll say. I'll make it real short. I just want some information. Last meeting we talked about dedicated roads. I know when that guy came in here was wanting something about his road, and you guys, I think, figured it was a dedicated road, but I remember that we had that on the agenda. John Rowe here, 2 years ago probably, came before the board. He had been ordered by the other commissioners at that time to make some rules on the dedicated roads. And so John postponed it. I think you was the chairman at the time. Postponed it to the next week, and then, to the next meeting. Then the next meeting, all the forest owners come in here, and the last I ever heard, you was going to have a work session or a meeting on that. You never did make any rules. Is that right?
No, there are 2 different things you're talking about, Phil. One has to do with what we call dedicated public right of way.
That's right.
And when someone develops, makes a housing development in the county, they want to put in a road system. We don't really want to take that road into the county road system and be fully responsible for the maintenance. And we feel that's not general enough use of that road for that. So, but we do want to make sure that everyone that buys a piece of property in that development is assured access to their home and to their property. Therefore, we designated a public dedicated right of way so that everyone that owns property off of that road is assured access to their property. So that's one issue. The other issue had to do with timber companies, or any major industrial user of our road system, but particularly timber companies. We have roads that access not only individual homes and farmlands, but also up at the end of the roads, a lot of timber. And those are public roads. And when the timber companies haul over those roads, particularly in the winter, they cause a lot of damage. And so we were asking the timber companies to come up with a way of putting those roads back into the order they found them after they've completed their hauling. You know, I'm thinking of one area up, was it Rock Creek, I believe, out of Bridge. One of the timber companies was hauling 30 or 40 truckloads of logs a day out the county road in the dead of the winter, and 10 loads of rock back up to rock the roads. It just beat the road up. The roads aren't built for that. So we asked the timber companies to help with the maintenance on that.
Yeah.
It's an ongoing discussion.
Yeah. Well, one
So
I
two
was.
different things.
Can I talk now?
Yeah.
I'm sorry to interrupt you. The one I was, actually where all this started was the Red Dike Road in Libby. Johnson Rock hauled all that dirt from out to the hospital up on the hill there, and then that eventually washed down in the slough. There was a big problem with them tearing the road up, and those people had to upkeep it. And that's where that's what happened when John was told to find some solution to the dedicated roads. Now, I live on a dedicated road. It's about 3/8 of a mile long. The county, as far as I know, has never put one rock on it or anything. We've maintained it ourselves. Now, if somebody comes up there and tears that road up, well, part of the road goes through my property anyway, and it's not dedicated, it's private.
Yeah.
But what I was returning to, and Dick is a witness there, when I talked to a warehouser at their place about the Chrome Mine Road, they said they got a lot of roads, dedicated roads that they've got gates on. Is that right, Dick?
Yeah.
So why would they be gating public roads?
I believe the road you have in question is, the Weyerhaeuser owns property on one side, the county on the other side. There's some confusion about the title to the road.
Yeah.
As I
Well,
recall. I don't have an answer for you.
well, the
But
attorneys.
I will get an answer. It may not be what you want, but I'd rather
Yeah.
take everyone's time here for this one.
Okay, I do. But the attorney here said that I had a right to walk on the road. In fact, he gave me the paper. I'm not disputing that. They said roads, plural, not just a road. They said they had roads dedicated, they had gates on. I don't think they should have, but we won't go into that now. The other thing was the $500 fee for the parks, from the park. Did you ever have a meeting on that?
Yes, we did.
Well, see, I asked, and it's on film and everything. Would you please make it open to the public and notify? I didn't hear anything or know anything about that meeting. So what did
I think
we?
It was advertised.
Well,
in public.
You got very little. If you don't have a computer, I guess you miss out everything. But what was the solution to the road, to the park?
We have some parks that have very, very little use, and it costs us a lot of money to maintain those. And we are trying to figure out ways the parks have to pay their own way. None of our tax dollars go into supporting our county park system. We don't use general fund money for that. So these parks that we have that take maintenance, but there's no revenue generated from them, are a problem. And so some of those we haven't kept open, and we're considering closing down more of them. But this group of people that came in were interested in a certain few parks, and they suggested that maybe they could work as volunteers to maintain those parks and take over management of them from the county, and so that they could be open to people that live in that part of the county. or other people that have, like, there's one park that one family's been having their family reunion there every year for decades. And that's about all it gets. So it's like having a, the county maintaining a park for one family. Well, they kind of volunteered to keep it up. But there's some liability issues and other things we have to deal with, but we're working towards that.
Well, anyway, I'll talk to you about it another time. I want to let these because I see a big issue on that. So
Thank you.
With the
thank you,
parks.
guys.
Thank you.
Okay,
Okay,
thanks,
next,
Phil.
Rob Taylor, but before you get started, David Brock-Smith called and he won't be here this morning.
He promised. What's up with that?
He said he had
Anyway.
a sod meeting,
Okay,
so,
we'll let that go then.
sud
I
note
don't know
death.
what the
Sorry, for
reason
people who
was,
don't speak
but
acronyms, sud
anyway,
note
he
death
called.
meeting.
I don't know why.
You know, I haven't, Rob Taylor from Bandon, by
Yeah.
the way, Bobby. You know, I haven't been here in a while, and you guys are great at responding to people. What you just did there, John, with Phil, that's what I like to see in commissioners and city councils, and most of the time, they just sit there stone-faced and they never respond to you. You know how it goes, Bob. And so I'm very happy that I can be here today. I wish I was here more often because our world is changing, and change happens. Changes always happen, and right now some of them are good, some of them are not so good. A lot of bad things are happening in our country, and we're losing a lot of our rights, and there's a lot of authoritarianism growing. If it wasn't, you wouldn't have needed to write the letter if authoritarianism wasn't growing in this state and in this country. And one of the things that has come to our attention is we don't want to lose any more authority that we have over our children. And there was an incident where the Coos Health and Wellness was going to give away shots, and they did give away shots, they just didn't do it at the fair. And once again, thank you for removing them from the fair and having them do that. But I find something, I just find something just as immoral and not right about bribing children to take vaccines. I think there's just something morally wrong with it. And here's what's even worse, and I'm still not sure if I got this right. Before I understood that children under 18, as young as 15, could go get medical procedures without notifying their parents. They can get hormonal therapy for sex changes. They can get abortions now. I don't like that. I don't, as a parent and a grandparent, I wish we could do something about this on the county level. I don't know. I haven't talked to any attorneys, but I'd like to see the county start changing that and giving parents back their authority, because once you undermine the responsibility, you usurp their authority. And as a parent and as soon-to-be grandparent, I can tell you now, thank you. You know, and thank you, Melissa, because I thought I had another 10 years before my kid was going to have one, and I was going to relive my 20s, and now I have to do that in my 70s. And so,
That's exciting.
So that's okay. I keep telling them have a couple of more, but just have them really close together. And so it's scary that we're losing that authority. And I don't think children as young as 12 should be getting vaccines, even though I'm not an anti-vaxxer. You know, I think if you truly believe in it and you want to get it, I support it. And I think the country was right in what they did. I think the former president, the former administration, as fast as they got it out, was incredible what we did in this country. And I don't have a problem with that until you start telling people who may not want those vaccines, who may have religious objections to these vaccines, knowing that their children, who are usually poor rural children, are being bribed with fare tickets and ride passes to go get vaccines. That has to change. We need to change that so that there's no longer, no one can bribe our kids to take drugs. I mean, back when I was going to high school, they bribed us not to take drugs. It was, you know, we'll have a drug-free party, and you can have all the pizza and Coke you can eat. Not the Coke you snort it, the Coke you drink. But they bribed us not to take drugs, John, and now they're bribing our kids to take drugs and to take this vaccine, which many people see as experimental. You know, if they would have came out and it went a little bit differently, I would take the vaccine. But now that I'm seeing people who don't have the vaccine are actually getting sick, I'm not sure why I would be encouraged to do this. But like I said, when you're talking about children, John, you can't, and Bob and Melissa, you can't take away the responsibility and the authority of the parents. And that's what I want to ask you here is that's the ask. That's what I think most of us want. is let's change the rule so you can't bribe kids to take medicines, and children under the age of 18, they have to notify their parents before they get medical procedures. And I thank you for allowing me the time.
And a little thing, it's no longer Coke, it's Pepsi, because they've gone to the far side as far as I'm personally concerned.
I agree with you, Bob.
Doug, Matt Wilbanks, is that right? Okay, Matt?
You probably already looked it up, but yeah.
Yes, my name is
Figured
Matt
we were looking at the
Wilbanks. I'm a disabled veteran, currently homeless because of basically what happened with COVID-19. I've been homeless for about the last year. I used to live in Coos Bay for the last 15 years before that. I don't have any kids in Coos County schools. I don't have any kids, period. And I feel that as someone who doesn't have children, it's my responsibility to look out for the children of my friends and my family. I have to agree with everything Rob said. I'm completely opposed to masking of children. I'm opposed whether it's their parents doing it, but that's their parents' right. We have to follow the parents' rights. Okay. The administration of vaccines as early as 12 years old is absolutely disgusting. Okay. I was a first responder for almost 13 years at a local business. Okay. I'm trained in first aid, trained in CPR. There are specific rules that the state sets out for what kind of care you can provide to minor children, okay? And this is pretty much universal up and down the emergency medicine spectrum, okay? If you have a minor child, they cannot give consent. The only exception for that rule is if their life is in an imminent danger. If the child needs CPR, I can give them CPR. You cannot administer any drug to that kid that's not in imminent danger without their parents' consent. Why this vaccine is any different, I have no idea. Because you're not going to die in 5 minutes from COVID-19. You're simply not, okay? Unless you're already on a ventilator. So that's absolutely disgusting. The other thing I wanted to reference is the masking. Okay, forced masking is absolutely ridiculous. I believe it's Dr. Michael Osterholm, and let me read you his who he is and why this matters. Michael Thomas Osterholm is an American epidemiologist, Regents Professor, and Director of the Center for Infectious Disease Research and Policy at the University of Minnesota. On November 9, he was named a member of then President-elect Joe Biden's COVID-19 Advisory Board. Okay, so this is not coming from some crazy conspiracy theorist who lives on the other side of the political spectrum. Dr. Osterholm was interviewed on CNN the other day, and I have the video up on my website, dailyresistor.com, where he flat out said, cloth masks don't work. Now, there's a bit of a difference with N95s. We can have some discussion with N95s. N95s work in a different manner. They're still not very good, but there's a little bit of protection there. And he references N95s in his interview on CNN. So, masks don't work to begin with. Why we would be forcing children to wear them in our schools, I have no idea. So I'll just close by saying I appreciate the letter you guys have written to the governor. That's a step in the right direction. The only thing I would add is that there are people in this group, people that I know, that are tired of getting responses from elected officials that, well, we're going to write a letter, but if that doesn't change anything, there's nothing we can do. You have to go to the state. We're done with that. You guys and other people are our representatives in the county. Frankly, I don't care whether we think that legally that's as far as we can go, okay? Legally, this country wouldn't exist. Everybody who fought in the American Revolution signed their death warrant. They had no legal right to do what they did, but they did it anyway. And we have to go further. If they don't take the carrot, they get the stick. Thanks.
Thank you. Christy Wilkinson, is that right, by any chance?
Thank you so much for that letter. That was a great start to this
What's your
meeting.
name?
Christy Wilkinson.
Oh, I got it right, okay.
Yep.
Go ahead.
Yeah, just so on that note, just when we ask, you know, what's her response going to be? So just my little spiel. My name is Christy Wilkinson, and I am a resident of Bandon and a mother of 2 boys, ages 6 and 8, who go to Ocean Crest Elementary School. I am also a small business owner. The latest mask mandate for K-12 schools for this upcoming school year is deeply distressing. I am also concerned about vaccine and mask mandates coming down the line from Washington. Are more lockdowns and business shutdowns on the way as well? The past year and a half has been detrimental to our society on so many levels. It is time for us as a community to step up and say no more. The time is over for us to sit idly by with the excuse, well, the governor says we have to. I call on citizens, city council, county commissioners, and our school board to step up and fight for our children, our businesses, and our well-being as a whole. I would like to know what actions you will be taking, which you've already expressed that, as county commissioners to address these issues. And just thinking forward, what are we going to do when the response back from the governor is, well, no, I'm sorry, this is how it is. So we need to kind of take it a step further, I believe. Thank you.
Thank you. Carol Yardley, is that right?
If we're just agreeing, do you want it up here?
Just, yeah, come on up and just say you agree with everything that's said already. So that,
Yes. No coat.
so that you're on record that way and we can-
Okay.
yeah.
Yes, hi, I'm Carol Yardley. I'm a grandparent. And I totally agree with what's being said here. It blows my mind that parents don't have the rights. They have the responsibility, they have the liability, but they're trying to take away the rights on what their children can and cannot do as far as health measures here. It's totally insane. And the masking, well, it's been proven over and over it doesn't work. So I'm totally against the vaccines unless it's what they want to do or the parents agree, and I'm totally against the masking. Thank you.
Thank you. Eleanor Yardley, is that right? Elmer, maybe.
Doesn't look like an
Okay, Elmer.
Good morning. I'd
Morning.
like to
Morning.
thank you for letting me speak for my wife and me. Like she said, we have grandkids, and just what I have 2 grandkids at work at Safeway and North Bend, and they were both offered money if they take this shot. Okay, for kids that they see that right out there. That's like dangling stuff you don't really want to dangle. But when it comes to, like, we were at the DMV yesterday in Florence, and thank God that we're not doing what Florence is doing. They're almost on total lockdown. My grandson has to go into the DMV with a mask, and I don't believe in the mask even for grown adults, but for kids, he had to do this driver's test with his mask on. And good to get out of that county, for sure. Okay, I have a little granddaughter who's very athletic, and she's going to be 15 here in a couple of days, but she does sports. She plays softball with a mask, basketball with a mask, and in wrestling with a mask. It's totally wrong. I want to tell you a little about my granddaughter. She had a hole in her heart when she was born. Well, took her up to Portland, find doctors, but she still has a little hole in her heart. But breathable, this is wrong to do masks with kids. It's just wrong. And that's what I stand by. And thank you for listening to me.
Thank you, Elmer.
Thanks.
Linnell Cumberly, is that? It, I'm not good with names sometimes.
I'm a visual person, you know that when I come here, so here we go. First of all, I want to thank you, Melissa, for reading what you're going to send to our governor, and thank you, Bob and John, for hearing us and hearing that our county can't go through this again of another lockdown, another mask mandate, and possibly a vaccine mandate. What I want to show you is
Lynette, could you give me your
Oh, I
pronunciation
will.
of?
Linnell
I totally
Kumalani
massacred
from
it.
Bandon.
Again?
Kumalani,
Kumalani.
highest horizon in the heavens if you're Hawaiian.
Okay, thank you.
Okay. I wanted to share with you the VAERS report. The VAERS is a vaccine adverse event reporting system. And it's the CDC and the FDA require selected reports for VAERS. So it's not a just made up thing. It was started in 1990, so it's not a just now for our present situation. It's been on the books. So with our present situation that we're now facing in our nation of there's been vaccines offered, but now they may be mandated. And for me, that will kill me. I'm so allergic to a lot of the ingredients in the vaccines that it would kill me. Yes. So I cannot do it even if they mandate it. I have a hard time even with the mask. So I want to show you though the VAERS. This was first done for our county fair. And so the date of the county fair, just 2 weeks ago.
You're bumping on the speakers. You might want to scoot over just a little bit. There you
Okay, there you go. Thank you, Melissa. So just county fair, 10,991 deaths from the vaccine. Just in these 2 weeks for 7/23, we've already had another 1,000 deaths from the vaccine. Now there's something, a little detail about this whole thing. This is only 1% of the vaccine injuries that are reported. We've had,
Is this US-wide, worldwide, what is this?
this is US.
Okay.
This is US. We've had 118,544 vaccine-related hospitalizations, urgent care, 60,000. We've had Bell's palsy. I know someone who was a very healthy 35-year-old woman who now cannot stop her body from shaking. And she's been shaking for 6 months now, and she cannot walk. And she used to be a marathon runner. She's my friend. Heart attacks. This is very personal to me because I have a friend that stroked out from the blood clots from the vaccines. He stroked out. He's no longer able to communicate with me. I know people in Bandon who had the vaccine and 2 days later they died of a heart attack. That concerns me. This should not be mandated. You can see here there's so many things. The severe allergic reactions, when I see pictures of these people, it's some of the same rashes that I used to have before I knew what I was allergic to, and I grieve for them. So I wanted to show you this. I want you to know that I want to know, and I think a lot of us here want to know, will you stand with us in this county, make it a sanctuary county, that we are not mandated, that we are not mandated to get the vaccine, that we're not mandated to wear masks, and I don't want to see our businesses closed down again. I know too many businesses in Bandon that are faltering, and even though I went to the city council meeting last night to present the same thing, their Chamber of Commerce person said, oh, nobody was affected by the lockdown. 3 people on the board, I know they've cried on my shoulders. So I know there's a problem. So I want to thank you all, and I do pray that you will stand with us because we are at a critical time in our nation. Thank you very much.
Thank you. Ben Roth, it's B, looks like R, and kind of, and then maybe a P. Okay. I can't even I can't
Sorry
read
about
my
that.
wife's handwriting
I
either,
kind of
so.
scribbled it in there. Hi, my name's Bill Brewster, and
Okay.
I'm.
You weren't even close.
Sorry about that. I totally agree with Linnell. I don't believe in the vaccine. I think it's a hoax. I think it's a form of control, and that's what I came to say.
Okay.
Okay.
Thank you, ma'am.
Thank you.
Teresa Avery. Teresa?
Morning, and thank you for your service. And I do appreciate the letter to the state. I'm Teresa Avery from Bandon, Oregon. I'm a mother of 9, a grandmother of 22. Parents must be respected and unencumbered to direct their own children's health care decisions until the age of 18. And regarding vaccines, the mortality rate for children from COVID-19 is roughly equivalent to the flu, and the vaccine carries risks for serious side effects, which include cardiovascular issues, autoimmune problems, and even death. And parents should be the final decision makers of this vital decision. Pertaining to mask use, again, parents should be deciding if their children should be masked. In hospitals, masks are changed every 2 hours. There has been no such safety protocol for kids. Parents know their children's health issues. For instance, if a child is on antibiotics, they are at a greater risk for mask-induced fungal infection, including the deadly black fungus presently devastating India. The warm, moist mask environment is the ideal breeding ground for this fungus, which carries a 50% death rate and is found worldwide. Labs in Florida tested children's masks and found parasites, fungi, and bacteria, including 3 dangerous pathogens and pneumonia-causing bacteria. Entities deciding children's health decisions without parental involvement is a recipe for disaster and should never occur anywhere in our nation. Thank you so much for hearing us.
Thank you. Scott Brewster, is it?
Well, thank you for letting us speak today, you guys.
Morning, Scott.
Yeah, morning. Man, this is shocking. I appreciate the letter that you guys wrote. Is it going to do anything? Are we going to do anything? Because the lockdowns are coming. I bet you 50% of the people in here are going to be wearing masks next month when we have this meeting again. What are we going to do about it? What are the people going to have to do about it? That's where the power comes from, right? That's what it says, we the people. So that's what we're going to do, is we want to encourage you guys to support us, and we will support you. I'd like to work with the sheriff in the back. I'd like to make this a sanctuary area that we get to make our own decisions, that parents' rights matter. You know, I went to my first city council meeting last night. I'm a parent of 2 kids, 7 and 4, deciding whether I'm going to send them to Bandon or not. I'm a husband and I'm a business owner in Bandon. Went to the city council meeting and the disdain that they showed us was palpable. I could not believe the way we were treated, and maybe it was to scare us off, to make us run. But what I thought is, yeah, let's run for their positions. And that's what needs to happen. They were actually making and passing laws, I'm not sure if it's laws or it was something that was going to happen, based on the area I live, which was the donut hole, that there could no longer be burning in the donut hole. Not one person was told about this. Nobody knew about this. They actually passed this with a hand-raised vote. It's, I guess, going to be going to the county, which maybe is you guys. And then the next thing that they said they were going after was the vacation rentals. So it was just shocking to sit there that the citizens aren't voting on this. The citizens don't want the vacation rentals taken away from Bandon. I mean, it's a vacation area. To sit there and watch this and a hand-raised vote means, boom, you're out, and people's lives are greatly affected. So what I'm encouraging everybody to do is go to your city council meetings. I don't care if you're in LA, Colorado, wherever. You need to go, make it fun, go have dinner afterwards with your buddies, whatever, but we need to see what's going on in our counties and our cities. And anyway, I just want to say that what we're going to do about it is we're going to actually, on August 27th, we're going to have a parents' conference. So we are going to bring, I represent a group of about 500 people, and we are going to bring together every parent in this area, Myrtle Point, Coquille, Coos Bay, North Bend, Bandon, and we're going to talk, and we're going to see what we can be able to do as the people to stop this mass mandate, because it's coming. And what's the problem is the school board's scared to make a decision. Even though the school board is on our side, I privately talked to every one of them. The superintendent is on our side. They're scared of being sued. That's what's going on. And the teachers union will come after them hard because the teachers union has power. So if the school board doesn't have power, if the teachers don't have power, if the superintendent doesn't have power, and it all comes down from Kate Brown, I mean, we are then in a dictatorship. We are no longer in a representative republic. So it's time that the people stand up, and I want you guys to stand with us, and we will stand with you guys on any of those decisions. And if we stand up and decide to not send our kids in droves to these schools, or to send our kids without masks, I mean, it's going to be a fight on our hands, but let's fight this together. And I think we can, and God bless all of you. Thank you so much. The respect you've shown us today compared to what we got last night is awesome. So thank you, and if there's anything we can be in communication about what we're about to do, I would love to be in communication with you guys.
So the 27th, where and what time?
Probably at Restoration Worship Center, which is across from Ray's in Bandon.
Yeah.
And we are going to start advertising this for the parents to come in. We're going to be speaking with teachers, past superintendents, all the parents in every community to come there, and let's figure a way around this thing. All right.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Gabe McNabb? Gabe?
My name's Gabe Nemeth from Bandon. I'm a 100% disabled veteran, Vietnam War. I have too much to say. One thing I'd like to say is clearly 75% of everyone on both sides of politics are for term limits. That's why we have such a corrupt government from the top down, even to local levels. And I'm a big proponent to reinstall the term limits, which I understand Rob said that they used to be in Bandon, but people are, the government's corrupt. I mean, and the majority of the public is misinformed because of the media being in the government's pocket. Anyway, thank you. I agree with everything that everyone's had to say, and I agree with that letter that Melissa sent. Thank you very much.
Diane Fawbush, I think.
Good morning, and thank you for letting me speak. My name is Diane Forbush. I'm a grandparent, and I live in Springfield, Oregon. Through the mask mandates and things in Australia, my grandchildren went through the entire year last year in school, no masks. They're not being forced to wear masks this year either. So I fully agree 100% with the previous speakers. We live in Springfield, as I said. We come down here every Friday, every week to come down to support the abandoned group because we don't have the same access to support people where we live. So we come down here and we've been supporting Bandon and Coos County with various events, and that's what we do. And we thank you for listening to me.
You talked about Australia.
Yes, I'm an Australian.
Have you watched the local news where now the military is imposing sanctions on their people?
I haven't heard
as
that.
of yesterday?
I haven't heard that.
Yep.
I haven't heard that. The last I heard a week ago, everything was fine.
Nope, not anymore.
Okay, well, thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Fred? Fred Fawbush.
My name is Fred Fawbush, and thank you very much. I agree with everybody that has spoken so far, and thank you, Melissa, for the letter. Having the masks for these children, pretty much Teresa Avery has said pretty much what I wanted to say. However, I'm a disabled veteran, Vietnam veteran, exposed to Agent Orange. The families and the children from those people that have had Agent Orange, they don't, when the children get vaccinated, and they might be exposed to Agent Orange, so they don't know what this vaccine can do to the children with Agent Orange families. However, I have a heart condition, and I also have chronic bronchitis, so I'm not taking the vaccination because my doctor told me if I take it, I'm at risk of having death. So I can imagine what it would be to the children that have underlying conditions that have to take the vaccine and having to wear these masks. Thank you very much. Appreciate it.
Thank you. I think Madeline Jackson. Good morning.
Hi, I'm Madeline Jackson, Coquille, local business owner, and I'm not a public speaker, but I agree with pretty much everything everybody has said here.
Okay.
If we don't take back our liberties now, before long it's going to get worse, and it's going to come to violence, I'm afraid. So I don't want that.
Yep.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
I think I know this one. Jim Kingsley. Good morning, Jim.
Morning, Bob. I pretty well agree. I'm Jim Kingsley from Coos Bay. I pretty well agree with everybody with their information, what they want to talk about. Also, I want to add that a lot of these tyrannical mandates are against the Constitution, particularly the First Amendment. It is our right to accept or reject these mandates. They're not laws. Laws are written by the legislature. So these are rules or regulations or whatever. That's pretty much what I want to say, and I want to thank you for that letter, and I pray that the other counties do the same. To Salem.
Thanks,
Okay.
Jim.
Thank you.
Linda Marchand. Is she here? Oh, there she is.
Thank you for listening to all of us today. My name is Linda Marchand. I live in Curry County, but a lot of these people here are my friends, and I'm just here to support them all, and I agree with everything that's been said today. Just briefly, I'll say something personal, which is my father escaped from Holland during World War II to join the Allied forces, and I'm totally just, it just blew my mind whenever all this came down. And anyway, you know what I'm talking about. So I just want to thank you all for listening today, and I hope to God that there's something we can do about it. And I'll support everybody.
Howard Bowles.
Good morning.
Good morning, Howard.
Howard Bowles, Bandon, Oregon. Lived here about 2 years. I've got involved with a couple of groups here, and I'm in agreement with everything that's been said here. A parent, a grandparent, a great-grandparent, and soon to be getting custody of a couple of my grandchildren to come here to live and go to school. I do not believe in a mask mandate. I do not believe in a masking. They're both harmful to children and adults across the board. Vaccine is experimental, has not been approved by the FDA, should not be used, period. The mask should be taken out. That's what I have to say, and I agree with everybody that has spoken. And I thank you all for the letter, and I hope that Kate Brown sincerely pays attention to this, that she is running away with everything, and it's horrible. Thank you again.
Thank you. Okay, Rod Taylor.
Good morning, counselors. Rod Taylor from Bandon. Nice to see you all this morning. Thanks for hearing us out.
So Rod, answer one of the important questions for me that I keep getting from people. Are you and Rob related or not? Because people keep asking me, and I tell them I don't know.
Brothers of another mother.
Okay.
Brothers from
There
another
you
mother.
go.
No,
I'll tell them that.
Yeah, no relation we're aware of, but no shortage of confusion. That's for sure.
I get his hate mail.
Yeah. I
Sure,
get
there's
his
enough to
hate
go around.
comments, so that all happens. So as a prelude to my main comment and question, I just wanted to say that I think that we're all aware, I hope that we're all aware in this room about what the cost has been to little children who have now had their minds impressed that donning a mask, despite no scientific evidence of its efficacy, that's imprinted there now. They see that as something that's normal, and to the degree that I hear stories about little 5 and 6 year olds being out on the playground and being told, "Hey, you guys can take your masks off," and they all choose to leave them on. That's not normal. That is not psychologically normal, and the toll to this nation for that is going to be incalculable in the near future. And I pray to God that our reversal and correction of this course has corrective effect to that degree. Thank you so much for your letter. That is phenomenal, and I know that everybody in this room is encouraged to have heard that. As good as it is, I'm wondering where the meat is, because every indication that I see says that the governor is going to just ignore and round file this document that you're sending her. Okay, so we've heard a number of things about. We've heard the comment about a sanctuary county here, and we came to you in December with the Coos County Declaration, which was essentially framing a sanctuary concept on the basis that closing all these businesses, forcing people to engage medical procedures and medical measures unadvisedly was all a greater ill than the actual effect of the virus to begin with. The Oregon constitutional concept is the lesser of evils, I believe, if I have that terminology correct. So what's the lesser evil? Was it to just let people self-determine, or was it to force all of these measures from the governor's office? In my mind, it was obvious that to allow individuals to make their own health choices and businesses to make their own choices in accordance with this little document right here, the U.S. Constitution, that was the lesser evil. So, my question is, when the governor ignores your letter, where is the rub? When it comes down from on high in Salem, where they care not a whit about our constitutional freedoms, about our liberties, where's the beef? So let's say in 2 weeks she comes down with this mask mandate, and now McKay's says, oh, well, we better do what the governor says. And I say to myself and to everybody else, you know what? That doesn't fly anymore. I'm not going to comply with that. I'm going to exercise my right to freedom of commerce, accessing this public place with what I know to be true and correct, and in accordance with what's in here, not what she says. So then what? Are men with guns going to come and remove me from that situation? Unconstitutional. And what's the stance of the county council, advising and consulting with the sheriff? Where do we go with that? Can you guys speak to that at all?
We haven't talked about that yet.
Okay, so that would be the question. That's going to be a question to I think be addressed at next month's meeting, after you've all had a chance to discuss it and we've seen what happens with the ensuing month.
As you saw, the LA County Sheriff said, no, we're not going to force any of that stuff.
And I believe that we have a sheriff here who is 100% on that channel as well, and I appreciate him for that. So I hope that he has the support of the council as well. And I thank you all for what you've done, what you continue to do, and again, as Scott mentioned, I appreciate the respect that we've been shown today. It really was breathtaking in Bandon last night, and I think that some of those city councilors could take a lesson from our county commissioners. Thank you all.
Anybody else wants to comment that didn't sign up?
I signed the wrong one.
Dino.
It's
okay.
older than you guys.
Don't let him off the hook, Bob.
It's age. Thank you, John.
Gotta be able to read before you
God. And you asked me, could I spell my name right? I'm Dino Kumalane. I'm Dino Kumalane. I live over in Bandon. Hearing all the things that I've heard today, we need to follow where's the money coming from. How's everything being funded? Who are these people that are getting filthy rich off this pandemic? And they're going to continue like we have in the county. They send down their medical group to give shots. How are they getting paid? Where's all this money coming from? Is it us? We are paying our medical facility people to give shots. I mean, they got to be paid. I go get my blood drawn, it's several $100s. Well, a free shot that's poison? I don't know. We need to follow the money, and it's got to go back up. And houses being pressured so hard that every radio station it's on, now they're hitting the kids really hard too. And now we got a sign, be a superhero in Bandon. That sign is so big, it's nuts. Be a superhero? little kids. I mean, I didn't learn to read or write till I was probably 16. But I kind of drifted off that. But my wife and I live in the county. We have no children in our county schools ever. We've lived here for over 30 years. And we pay property taxes since. The educational totals are more than 50% of my real estate taxes. It blows me away. My deal is this taxation without proper representation? I've never had a say in my school district. Where does it start? Do we have to go to school districts? Does it start here? Does it start higher? Where does it start? But I don't believe I'm being represented for 30 years, and I pay a lot of taxes. As our commissioners, how do you represent the people's wishes? So you've heard the wishes today. I know you can't give me that answer now because we need to ponder a little bit about this, and especially regarding the state mandatories and enforcement. I think, Melissa, that is a wonderful letter. And I have to say exactly what Rob said in agreement, that most of that's trash can before it even gets there. And it's sad to say. But how can we go forward and let Kate Brown know that we mean business? Do we just go do we get state funding from Kate Brown on all this stuff? I don't know. Do we? You get my tax money to do whatever, and I appreciate what you do. But Kate Brown hasn't listened ever. I don't know how she's become the magistrate for the entire state with her pen. But I want to thank you all for standing up. Melissa, I hope this letter goes through. I hope it's registered, mailed, double, triple stamp, receipt. Make her sign it personally, but we know how that goes. It just doesn't happen. Well, thanks for letting me rant, but we need to follow this money. I think we'll find out there's some criminal things in that works to be pushed as hard as it's being pushed. Thank you, gentlemen. Young lady.
Thanks, Bob. Anybody else? Eldon.
My name is Eldon Rollins. I live here in Coquille. When it came time for me to get my vaccinations, 2 shots, 1 month apart from each other for the coronavirus, I was very relieved because I knew that the risk associated with the vaccinations was orders of magnitude smaller than the risks associated with getting the disease. I am battling 2 kinds of cancer. My immune system is compromised. My melanoma has metastasized to my lungs, and I'm a stroke risk. I don't need a coronavirus traveling to my lungs and partying with my melanoma. And as far as people getting rich off of this pandemic if you're concerned about people getting rich off of it, maybe you should go to some trouble, put an end to it by doing the right thing, getting vaccinated, and masking up when it's necessary. Thank you.
Okay, anybody else? Sir?
Good morning.
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 I appreciate I'm Ray Marchand, and I live in Langlois, Oregon. I appreciate what the man said here. I appreciate his concern. Sir, and everybody else in this room is aware, we're all going to die.
Hey, sir, you talk to us.
We're all going to die. There's nothing we can do about that. There's a appointed time for us to die. Hopefully, we'll have peace of God when we leave. Talking about the authority that we have against Kate Brown, we do have that authority. We have sovereignty. Each of us individuals have sovereignty. That supersedes her authority. She has no authority. Our authority comes from God. Each individual in this room has sovereignty. Each individual has needs to speak, needs to have a voice that's heard, so we can all get to a better place in this situation. I'm sorry people are going to die. Last night a lady came to the meeting, and she was very elderly, and she said basically that we should not talk because she doesn't have very much time. And she was elderly, and she was masked up, and she doesn't have very much time, so only one of us should speak. Only one of us should speak, and then we need to leave, basically, is what she was saying. It's unfortunate that maybe she doesn't have as much time as I have. I don't know. Maybe I don't have any time. Maybe I'm going to go today. I don't know. But I want to reiterate, whatever the word is, that I want to have the peace of God when I'm ready to die. I want to have the peace of God. That's the most important thing to me. And I want to relay that peace of God to everyone I meet and do them no harm. We do have authority because we're sovereign. We're sovereign individuals. We have authority over her mandates. She cannot mandate harm to us from afar. We have authority. So when she rejects this letter, what we're going to do as a group, we're going to exercise our authority. There's not an argument. We don't have an argument with anybody. We believe in life and life more abundantly. We believe that we answer to a higher power by whatever choice, whatever your choice is for that higher power. We believe in a higher power, and we are accountable to that higher power. Therefore, we're going to exercise our sovereign rights, and we're going to stand up. We're going to stand up as Board of Supervisors and citizens of this county. And the people that are coming against us are very few, very small. I think they're being oppressed by what they call in the Bible legion. Many spirits that are controlling their lives. They want us to be controlled by their bad spirits. I don't think we ought to allow that. I think we ought to stand for truth. We ought to put the lies behind us. And if you think that we don't have any power to stop this thing, we do. The Board of Supervisors has all the power they need. We have all the power we need as sovereign citizens. There's no argument. God will prevail. We have authority. We trust in Him. And we're going to have the peace of God as we go through this. It's going to build our character, and we're going to grow as people, and God is going to approve of us tremendously. He's going to approve of us. He's going to say, well done. You did good. You didn't succumb to the evil. You didn't lash out at your fellow man. You didn't call them names. You didn't hurt them. You came to them and reasoned with them. And that's what we need to do. We need to be an example in this county so other counties can follow our example. And we'll make a change. And it'll start small, but it'll grow. So I'm asking all the people here to participate in that. Yeah, they may cut our funding temporarily. They may do this, they may do that. That's incidental. If the ship is sinking, we better do something about it. So forget about the money. Forget about your worldly cares. Forget about your treasures, because they don't mean nothing right now. What is very, very important that we turn this course and we come together, united, and we make a difference. And we have that power. So I'm asking everybody here to, when she rejects this letter, let's go forward. Let's have some courage. We can stand and shake, but at least we're not slithering like a snake. And when I die, I do not want to slither. I want to stand, and when I get there, I don't want the Lord to ask me, have you been vaccinated? Because the Lord won't ask me that question. The Lord will just say, did I know you? And I hope to God that he says, I knew you. Amen?
Thank you.
Thank you.
Dick Mort?
Dick Mort, Coos Bay. Well, we're all individuals. We're all bodies made up different to take shots or ever what, or the mask. But I want to say 2019 of September, I started getting sick. And in November, they said I'd had heart condition. Then, on Christmas morning at midnight, I was in the hospital, and they said I had a viral that they didn't know what it was. So for a year and a half, I had a lot of pain, sickness, and everything else. And in April, this year, I got the Johnson & Johnson shot, and I praise God for that shot, because I've felt better now than I did for a year and a half. So the shot improved me. So it works different than everybody. That's what I want to say. Thank you.
Okay.
Thanks, Dick.
Good morning. My name is Susie Bowles. I live in Bandon, and I want to say that the point of the matter is the gentleman that spoke, they chose to get the vaccine, which is not really a vaccine. It's a gene therapy. But the point of the matter is they got to choose. And I don't believe that it should be mandated that anybody have to take a medication that they're not sure of, and especially if that it's experimental. I too have severe allergies to simple things, dairy, soaps, medications. But I think the big thing here is we're fighting for our choice and our freedom and our liberties to be able to choose to wear a mask or not wear a mask, which to participate in. It's our life. It's our God-given freedom. And that's what I would like to say. I agree with everybody here that spoke about the freedom of choice. And that's the point, is the choice. Thank you.
Anybody else? Maybe hesitating, but come on in. We don't care if you're a public speaker or you just talk to yourself.
All right, I will. Debbie Rosengren, Bandon. Dang it, and I am not an activist. I'm not a public speaker.
Hang on a minute, please. Now, state your name for the.
Debbie Rosengren
From Bing.
from Bandon.
Thank you.
I'm not a public speaker. I'm not an activist. I'm shaking inside.
It's
But whatever happened to my body, my choice? They use that for abortion all the time. Amen. But where's my body, my choice when it comes to a vaccination or a mask? And my dad died of melanoma, so I know where you are right now. But it still is my body, my choice. Thank you very much. Thank you for the letter.
Okay, anybody else? Now, this lady was brave. Oh, here's another one.
So I don't like to get up here because it makes me cry. Maria Miriam. Bandon, yeah. Yeah. So I just want to support everything that was said today. I support everyone. And I'm deeply concerned about where our country's going. I'm just deeply concerned. And, you know, the Lord has called you for such a time as this. We're all born at this time. And we have to do what's right. And sometimes we have to stand, and sometimes it's hard. I'd rather not be here. I was happy with my life before COVID. So just be strong. I'm praying for you guys, and thank you for everyone for their courage today to speak. Thank you.
Anybody else? I'm looking at some of the people in the back, and then I sat next to that lady last Saturday. Anybody else? John? Comments?
Thank you, everyone, for your input.
No.
I have some comments. I wrote down some things I was thinking about. Did you know that the CDC is talking about changing the test for COVID at the end of the year? Because they can't tell right now between the flu and the COVID-19 when they do the testing. That's one thing. Did you know that Governor DeSantis of Florida said if the federal government mandate masks, we're not going to do it, and anybody who does, we're going to withhold their state school support in his state.
Brave man.
We sent letters, and we had a 30-minute chat with the governor several weeks ago. Each one of us got a minute to talk about Shutter Creek. And you may or may not know, they're going to close it anyway. How come it's okay to let in millions of people through the border without masks and without their shots and all that baloney, but we have to have them? How come nobody, like the federal government and the Justice Department, hasn't filed a lawsuit against the Biden administration for letting all these people in? It's a violation of the law for the U.S.
Amen.
And maybe when it's coming out that your COVID vaccines may only be good for up to 6 months, depending on the person, maybe a little longer, depending on makeup of your individual body. And maybe something like I participated in last year, no, way last year, was 15,000 of us showed up at the Capitol in Timber Unity.
Amen.
Maybe a whole statewide group to show up there and say, we've had enough of this.
Amen.
There were, if I remember right, over 10,000 trucks.
Yes.
And we were on the freeway at 3 in the morning. It was amazing, the line. You could see for long ways. The amount of people that were unhappy that the whole fuel system that we were talking about. I guess that's all I have. Thank you all. Okay, request approval of IGA 171315 with Oregon Health Authority and ratified director's signature.
Hello.
Good morning, Mike.
This is a state IGA grant for parent and children interactive therapy, and it's to provide infrastructure and training for our therapists for this program. It's a 2-year grant.
Okay, I move to approve and ratify Mike Rowley's signature as department head for OHA contract IGA 171315.
Okay, any discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Okay. 3C, request approval of IGA 171410 with OHA ratified director's signature.
This one is language only, and it is to receive tort claim liability from the state.
Hang on a minute.
Okay.
Everybody, hello? If you could take your conversations out there, it's hard to conduct business when everybody's talking. Thank you.
I move to approve and ratify Mike Rowley's signature as department head on OHA contract 171410-0.
Okay. Any discussion?
Yeah, I just wondered if the, was there some kind of hiccup with the DocuSign that was having these be signed? Because I didn't catch that they were already signed and now we're ratifying. So I was wondering.
I don't think so on these. I think we got the DocuSigns, but I'm holding off until this. And then the way that we've had it set up is that I could sign it, and then I'll sign it after the board meeting.
Okay, then we're not actually ratifying.
Okay.
Right.
Okay, okay. Okay, yeah, no, they're not signed now. I think that was just the very first one.
Okay, because, yeah, ratify means that you've already signed it. So I will restate my motion. I move to approve Mike Rowley's signature as department head on OHA contract 171410-0.
Is there a second on that?
Expect me to second that? Okay, I'll second.
Any other discussion?
Aye.
Aye.
Hearing none, all in favor? Aye. All righty. Request approval of contract with Bay Area First Step. Mike.
Yes, this is a long-term contract that we've had with Area First Step to provide transitional supported housing for A&D patients. We are extending that for another 2 years, I believe.
Okay, motion?
I move to approve and sign the contract with Bay Area First Step for transitional supported housing and peer services to behavioral health clients.
Second. Discussion? Hearing none, all in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Okay. 3E, request approval of contract amendment number 2 with the THE House.
Yes, this is another Bay Area First Step contract, but this is for their THE House, which provides shelters for our client. And this is a 2-year contract.
I move to approve and sign contract amendment number 2 with Bay Area First Step THE House.
Second?
Second.
Discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Okay. 3F, request approval of contract with SHAMA.
Yeah, Shama. This is a contract for their consumer drop-in center and supported employment and peer services. So this is for our behavioral health clients.
I move to approve and sign the contract with Shama for the Behavioral Health Drop-In Center, supported employment, and peer services.
Second.
Any discussion? Hearing none, all in favor?
Aye.
3G, request approval of job description for PH Associate 2, COVID-19 case coordinator, approved posting filling position.
Yeah, so we have a employee that we've trained up that is currently temporary. We want to hire her on as a kind of permanent case coordinator for COVID-19. And the thought is after she finishes this, we'll transition her into home visiting.
Okay, that was going to be my question.
Yeah.
Hope this won't be forever. I move to approve the Public Health Associate 2 COVID-19 case coordinator position at Coos Health and Wellness and approve posting and filling the position.
Second.
Discussion. What is a coordinator position anyway?
So she's a case investigator at this point.
Okay. transmission possibly
Yeah, so they do all the contact tracing.
come into contact with other folks
Right.
who've gotten it. Any other discussion? Hearing none, all in favor?
Aye.
3H, request approval of job description for psychiatric mental health nurse practitioner. And it says adult child psychiatric services approval partially filled.
Yeah, so I've talked to you about this. We are going to try to recruit a local nurse practitioner instead of going through our locums, which is televideo.
I move to approve the position description for the psychiatric mental health nurse practitioner for adult and child psychiatric services and approve posting and filling this position.
Discussion?
You believe you've identified a local candidate, right? Which is why you're going this route? Or a candidate, anyway?
Well, the last I heard is Eric and Terry had someone in mind,
Okay.
but they would move here.
Okay.
It's not a local.
Yeah, no,
person.
that was
Yeah.
what I meant.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Any other discussion? Hearing none, all in favor?
Aye.
3I, request approval of job description for enrollment agent medical assistant, who's posting filling.
Yeah, so this is a enrollment agent, so we need someone that will help clients come in and kind of do all their initial paperwork. Currently, the therapists are having to do some of that, which is cutting down on our fee-for-service time, so we're going to have some administrative help there and see how that helps us out.
Okay. I move to approve the position description for enrollment agent / medical assistant and approve posting and filling this position.
Any discussion about that?
And again, if you discover that this is not helpful for whatever reason, you have plans to roll them into a medical assistant position?
Yeah, that's part of it is as a medical assistant, if we continue expanding the med services, we will probably need a medical assistant. So
Okay.
that's why it's kind of half and half.
Okay. Thanks, Mike.
Any other discussion? Hearing none, all in favor?
Aye.
Okay.
And
We have late,
I have a late
You have a late.
agenda item I would like to add.
Oh.
oh, here it is. Okay, approval payment to 10 Coosa County Take Your Shot incentive winners.
Mm-hmm. So I move to approve payment to the 10 Coos County Take Your Shot incentive winners in the amount of $10,000 each. And just to be clear, there's actually 11, right? One was funded by the state and 10
Yeah, one
were
was
our,
funded by the state.
incentive money.
These are 10 that we took out of the incentive money that they gave us for this.
great.
Incentive
And those,
money came from,
The state, IGA.
and they got it from all of us.
Yeah, I think it's CFR money,
Yeah, we know
COVID
it's all of
relief
us.
fund, CRF money.
and so, those will be announced Friday night, is that right?
We're doing the presentation Friday night at our office in
Right.
the main conference room.
And the press is invited to that and all
Yes.
that. I've heard some people ask why the winners haven't been announced yet. And so,
Oh, I don't know when I could find out if we're actually, if there'll be a PSA or what the procedure for that will be.
thanks.
Any other discussion?
Yep.
All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Aye.
I think you say nay if you're opposed.
I don't care.
Otherwise, it could just be a late
I
aye,
don't
and it
like-
could confuse people.
Okay,
Okay,
that's it? Okay.
thank you.
Thank you, Mike.
3J, request of award of contract for Date Connections IT. Harris.
Point of clarification, I'm not seeking for permission to date.
Really?
It should say data services.
That's not what it says.
Lest my wife be watching.
It's for a,
Well, mine, the original submission says data, so.
it's for a farmers only subscription? What is this, Darius?
Anyway,
So at the top of the sheet, it does say data in your defense.
thank you.
It does say
Put
data.
on
True.
She can only use the A so much on her keyboard till it wears out. She has to meter her
Well,
A usage.
Yeah, guilty, I suppose. So the county's existing contract for data services between the courthouse and the remote locations expired in late April and converted to a month-to-month contract. I worked with county council to put together a request for quote. At the time we signed the contract, there was really only one vendor that could provide services to all the locations. Since then, two other companies, Douglas Fastnet and Ziply, are now able to provide services to all the locations. We did reach out to Charter Spectrum, but they were unable to provide services at the animal control facility. In any event, after reviewing the contract, Douglas Fastnet won. They had slightly lower prices, and we deemed that their access to engineers and their response times were pretty similar across the board. So we'd like to award the contract to Douglas Fastnet. We anticipate saving a little over half of what we have been spending, so we're pretty excited about that.
Am I having to do all the hard work today? I move to authorize the use of written quotes for a contract with a price in excess of $50,000 but less than $150,000, and award the 3-year contract for data connections to Douglas Fastnet, the highest rating score in the amount of $80,100, not including franchise fees, public utility fees, and taxes.
Well done.
How was that for a motion?
Well, I don't understand it.
Just say second, and then we can discuss why you don't understand it.
Second, first, so you discuss.
Okay, a second.
Okay, discussion, John.
Well, tell me what the highest ranking, how is this highest rating score an amount of $80,100?
Yeah, we maybe could have worded that a little differently. Basically, we sent out 3 decision criteria. It was price, which was 55%. Then the remainder, 45%, was split between access, direct access to engineers that could solve the problems and their response time. Because the direct access and response time was similar, almost exactly the same between all 4, we kind of deemed that score a wash. It was all the same. Basically, Douglas Fastnet won out on price by, I think, 1 or 2 points because they were slightly cheaper than the next lowest bidder. So apologize for the confusion.
If you look at the second page, it shows all of the quotes.
Yeah,
that we
I have a
received.
matrix on there. It's a little hard to read because it's so small. But
And that actually makes a lot of sense. We're approving the system that he used for receiving those solicitations, which is quotes instead of bids. And we're recognizing that Douglas Fastnet was the lowest and awarding it to them.
For the other one, it was 86.5.
This lawyering thing isn't so hard.
yeah, and I do want to put a note on Charter Spectrum. They gave us 2 quotes. They gave us a quote including animal control, which was what you see in front of you. Then they gave us a lower quote, although it wasn't the lowest bid, but they gave us a significantly lower quote if we excluded animal control. We did not make that an option. We asked them to bid on all of the locations, so I put down their response for all of the locations.
Gotcha. That makes sense.
So this is going to cost us somewhere between $50,000 and $150,000.
Over the course of 3 years.
Right down to that.
Yeah, and we're paying almost double that now. So.
It's going to cost us $80,100 plus fees. The $50,000 to $150,000 is just noting that we use quotes for a contract between $50,000 and $150,000, and we need the board to approve that. The reason we didn't do a full RFP is that we know who all the competitors are in the area for this, so we can directly solicit written quotes from all.
As normal, things IT go over my head.
So the final number is 80,100.
Correct.
Not including,
not
not
yet.
including franchise fees, public utility fees, and taxes.
Hang on a second. We talked about 1 year and 3 years. Is this 3 years?
Yeah, well, so I wanted to show you 3 years is the 80,000, correct? The entire amount of the contract
Should've
plus
brought
the
snaps.
fees, the taxes, and
So everybody's clear.
yeah.
Yeah.
I did put, just so for comparison's sake, I put down like the monthly amount, and so we could compare them.
Aye.
Any other discussion before we vote? Melissa?
Nope, I'm ready to vote.
All right, all in favor?
Very excited about this. Aye.
So it occurred to me, we didn't say who was authorized to sign this. Okay,
Unless we delegate it, yeah, it's
Okay.
always the board.
so I'll get the contract over to Bobby and you guys can sign it, if you don't already have it.
3K.
Okay, hold on just a second. Hold on. Hold on. Do we want to delegate signature authority to Darius on that? I could just make a motion right now. I move to authorize Darius Boothealer to sign the contract with Douglas Fastnet.
Any discussion about authorizing the IT director to sign? Hearing none, all in favor?
Aye. There you go. Now you don't have
Thank
to
you.
send it over.
Thank
Thanks.
you.
Okay, off to 3K. Request award of contract for construction of CFDA. Sure. Captain Fabrizio.
We're just doing what we want at this point.
Apparently they are. They've gone out of control.
I'm good, you want me to take it?
I can do it.
Okay.
So this is, the county had a engineer look at all the towers for the new radio system. It was discovered that one of our towers actually needs to be replaced. This is something that we didn't anticipate and have in our budget. Fortunately, the Coos Forest Protective Association, who's one of our partners on the tower project, CFDA, is willing to donate a radio tower valued at $40,000 and pay for the immediate installation of the tower. The county would then reimburse CFDA for the cost of the tower installation by December 31st, 2021. This would allow immediate replacement of the paying of a contractor to do that work, and then we can wait for additional local option tax revenue to come in to make that reimbursement. So it's also important to note that CFPA did go out and get 3 quotes for this installation. That means that there was full and fair competition for the construction contractor that will be putting the tower in. Selected contractor will be required to comply with prevailing wages. This is a public improvement, putting down a foundation and putting up the tower. And it will issue us a certificate naming us as additional assured as well. The county, I think, should adopt emergency findings with regard to the award of the contract to CFPA. But I will note that, in typical circumstance, if you're hiring a construction management service, it's a contract where you're paying. In this case, we're actually getting a benefit because the CFPA is, as part of that contract, giving us equipment so that this project can get done. So it's a really good deal for us.
Okay. I move to approve Order 21-07-045L, authorizing an emergency exception to the competitive process, and approve and sign a contract with CFPA in an amount not to exceed $92,800.
Okay, discussion? Hearing none, all in favor?
Aye. Good job, Gabe. You handled that.
Thank you, thank you.
I'll second.
Thanks, Nat.
Aye.
Late agendas.
I move to add 3 late agenda items, because we haven't voted on the letter yet either.
We need to vote on the letter.
Yeah.
Entertain a motion for late.
I thought I said.
Okay, second? Second?
I'll second.
Okay. So Melissa, you have a late one?
I have the letter that I read out at the beginning of our meeting,
So you-
asking for local control and local decision-making.
I move we approve and sign the letter prepared by Pickens to
I'll second.
Discussion? It was a great letter.
Thanks.
Great letter.
Thanks.
All in favor?
Aye. I think it's worth noting that a lot of school districts are sending similar letters. I don't know that a single letter makes a difference, but I do believe when a lot of letters are received.
How about our
they're-
school, how about our local school districts, do you know?
I haven't seen any from our local school districts, but I do think we should forward it on to them after we sign it. I was hesitant to share anything until we discussed it, and I think, on a personal note, I don't believe my vaccine status is anyone's business, but I am vaccinated. And I do believe in the vaccine. I just believe that these decisions should be made at the local level, which is what we were reassured of at the end of June by the governor's office, was that all future decisions would be made at the local level about handling COVID. And that's not what's happening right now.
Even beyond that, at a personal level.
Yes. But I mean, yeah, each area is different, and, you know, I believe your vaccine status is your own personal business, but.
Okay, we have some more lates, I guess.
Yes. We have two lates. It's all the same.
Any motion to approve contract for janitorial services with Area Enterprise Company with the maintenance director?
I was gonna say, did Mike give up?
The requested action is approval of contract with janitorial services for Area Enterprise in the amount of $137,993.69.
Yes, this is the contract that, you know, we have for with Bay Area for our janitorial service. I should have actually had this in sooner to you guys. I apologize that I'm right at the due date of the contract, but we were also working with them trying to establish some different cleaning areas that we haven't had and that sort. So now we do have this contract of that amount, so.
I move to approve contract for janitorial services with Bay Area Enterprises in the amount of $137,993.69. It's pretty precise.
Yeah, to be clear, they have 5 not to exceeds.
Yes.
And so should we not be approving them to not exceed each of those amounts rather than?
Those amounts should come up to what the total
It does.
contract is,
It
yes.
does.
It's one contract
It's
with
one
5 scopes
contract.
of work under it. And each scope of work has its own not to
Its
exceed.
own maximum.
Right.
Yeah.
And so the, so the overall contract
Yeah,
says,
they could jerry-rig that the way they could come in low at one building and then exceed.
You're signing 5 separate contracts.
We have 5 separate contracts.
Yeah,
How we're gonna do it, as long
Yeah.
as they can't manipulate the maximum.
Yeah.
Okay, any other discussion about this? Hearing none, all in favor?
aye.
We have one more.
And with consideration of a late agenda item, another late agenda, do we have to do that?
No, we added all 3 at once.
Okay.
So we have a change order for the remodel of the portion of the courthouse with a new courtroom. They discovered apparently some problems.
Yeah, with the
Opportunities.
demolition of the courthouse, we ran into some additional asbestos. We had to have some additional testing done, and in order to have the abatement done so we can continue, the amount is $14,307. And then also on that, we had another change is we were in charge of the county was in charge of doing all the demolition. With some of the demolition that did come up, we were unable to do that. I then talked to Backman Construction and told them at the time that I would like them to take care of that. And that was $8,255
Okay.
additional, so.
Those both seem reasonable.
I move approval of the 2 change orders of Doug Batman Construction Incorporated in the amount of $14,307 and $8,225.50, and authorize the maintenance director, Mike Hagan, to sign the change order agreement.
I'll second.
Okay, discussion? Hearing none, all in favor?
Aye.
Okay. With that, Commissioner comments?
John, do you want to go first?
I have really a question I'd like to pose to the commissioners. Since I've been a commissioner, the road department has, and I as well, have operated under the assumption that at some point in time, there was a decision made to not accept any roads that are currently classified as public dedicated rights of ways into the county's maintained road system. I think it's a good idea. I just want the commissioners to be aware of what has been going on from a practical consideration, and either decide that we want to continue that or not. And my recommendation would be that we continue it. Bob, you may be able to fill in some of the history on this. Right.
Well,
What happens now is if someone wants to change their road from a public dedicated right-of-way to a county-maintained road, they go to the road department, and the road department says the county's not doing that. And I'm not sure that this board itself was a party to that agreement and may or may not have been aware of that. So
Of that? Sorry,
okay.
I'm not tracking.
If-
So here,
If you live on a road that is classified as a public dedicated right-of-way,
right,
and you think that that road should be taken out of that classification and put into a fully maintained county road classification, you would call the road department, and they would tell you the county is not accepting, is not changing, not putting any more roads into fully maintained roads. We're not taking
Right.
roads out of public dedicated right-of-ways and putting them into that. I think that's a good idea. I just was not sure that this board was fully aware of how that is being handled, and I thought we should be.
so my,
Bring that for that purpose.
my recollection is, and Bobby can correct me if I'm wrong, or perhaps Bob, is that about 14 years ago, the commissioners went through and removed a lot of roads out of being public roads. They still remain public dedicated, is my understanding. The public still has access to those roads, but the county no longer maintains them. And that was done for a reason, and that's because the county has limited road funds. And we really need to focus on the roads that actually serve the majority of our citizens. Some counties have a lot of forest funds, from federal forest funds that they're able to use to maintain their roads. We are just simply not one of those counties. But when people ask, why is Curry County able to blacktop a whole bunch of roads and we're not, that's a lot of the reason. They have a lot of federal forest funds. So the economic reality of what our road department is and what we have is that we simply cannot afford to take on more roads. Right? So it's not out of a spirit of meanness or because we don't like somebody's road as well as another person's or anything else. It's just really an economic reality of what we have and where we're at. And I admire those commissioners 14 years ago for taking on that tough job, because I sat through a few of those hearings. And those,
They
you
got
know,
beat up.
yes, they drew a crowd, people were upset, and that was hard work. And I admire the fact that they took on that hard work and they did what was necessary to make the road department functional. I am not inclined to revisit that at this time, because I don't believe our economic reality has changed as far as the road department goes.
And I absolutely agree with you.
Okay.
But I just wanted.
I just had to say it with a lot more words.
Yeah, no, you did better than I said, thank you.
well, you're right. Back when we had 50-some county road department employees, when the whole timber, no cutting of federal timber came in, we went from about $20 to $25 million a year in today's dollars contributed to the county coffers.
Mhm.
Now we get about 1.3.
Right.
So we don't have the funds anymore. Now we have what? Over 20, 1, 2, 3 maybe county road department employees, including everybody, the director and on down. So we don't have the materials or the staff to take on anymore. If at some point, I guess, that we begin cutting like we used to federal timber, then it would be a reconsideration, I think. But it's just not possible. I mean, in fact, you know, the people were talking earlier about their property taxes and the amount of property tax the county gets to keep. I mean, we collect it for all of the taxing districts. And I say this over and over and over. You got a little over $5.5 somewhere $1 million, and the jail costs $1 million more than that, just to keep the partial jail open at 98 beds. So it's difficult making ends meet some days for the rest of the general fund departments.
So, I don't know that any further action is necessary. I just wanted everyone to be well aware that when someone currently asks that a road be taken out of that public dedicated right of way and moved into fully maintained road, they call, if they call the road department, they will say, well, the county is no longer doing, the county is not doing that.
But it's difficult to tell them that, but where does the funds come from?
Yeah, so, yeah, all right. I have nothing further.
Mr. Chris?
I think Melissa basically is right on what she said, but there was sometimes a deal there, like State Road, let's take it, that, I think, the way they worked it is, the county upgraded that road to the standards of the county, and then from then on, the counties, the people had to pay for it, that lived on that road, right?
Well, the county didn't upgrade it, the people
No, yeah, I
on the
think
Yeah.
John
roadway
Road
paid
done the work.
wait a minute.
Right.
The county, the people on Stage Road paid the county to upgrade it to county standards.
That's what I said.
Then it was paid.
That's what I said.
Some people, didn't honor that.
It was a local improvement district is what we call it. They form that and they agree to pay for it, and the county just does the work and they reimburse us the
And
cost.
after that, the county took care of the road, is what I'm saying, that was the agreement. Menasha didn't even want to pay their share on it, and Stubblebean worked out something about bleeding. Now, I think I'm right, I might not be, but I think Stubblebean actually worked out the deal where they paid for Menasha's deal, because the people were saying a 2-inch overlay on that road wouldn't hold up for their timberlands. And other people above there didn't want to pay them to start with. So that's the way they done it.
Okay. Melissa, your report?
Yes. I have been on a couple of calls about the EPA opening a new rulemaking on waters of the United States. I know, which is something that has gone on, and different administrations have different ideas of what constitutes a waters of the U.S., but they are definitely reopening rulemaking on that. And so, you know, we'll want to keep a close eye on that and look at the definitions, because Coos County has a lot of water. And whatever gets defined as waters of the U.S. is subject to any sort of federal restrictions. So we'll just want to keep a close eye on it.
Yeah, because they call a ditch that has water in it in wintertime, waters of the U.S. at one point, one of the administrations.
Right. And there's honestly, there were a lot of commissioners on the second call I was on, and there's varying opinions across the nation. So, you know, that's the thing is, these three commissioners might have one opinion. There was a commissioner from Santa Fe County that was saying, we want to make sure you're including ephemeral streams, which is something that we haven't been in favor of, because that's where you get into the category of ditches, you know, things where there's water that flows occasionally. So I wanted to make sure you guys were aware that they were reopening that. We met as the Board of Health last week and just, you know, had a discussion about how Coos Health and Wellness and public health in particular was going, did a review of the budget, talked about staffing and other issues. Commissioner Sweet and I attended several Oregon Coast Trail meetings to talk about the proposed route of the Oregon Coast Trail and how that can be put into place to avoid some of the real pinch points. Bullard's Bridge is a big one that creates a risk to people that are walking down the beach on the Oregon Coast Trail. ever since the fires a couple of years ago on the Pacific Crest Trail, there's been a renewed effort to try to make the Oregon Coast Trail one at least safe, delineated route that people can walk on. Commissioner Sweet tells stories about having lost Oregon Coast Trail hikers show up on his property and having to help them figure out where they went wrong. And a lot of the route just simply follows the beach, but there's spots where people have to come up on the highway or spots where they have to cross a body of water. And if we're going to draw tourists here to hike the Oregon Coast Trail, I think we at least deserve to help them find their way down it alive. So that's something that we have been working on. The executive director of Association of Oregon Counties came down to tour the county and sit in one of our meetings last week, and we gave her a tour of some of the spots where we have opportunities and challenges. Commissioner Maine took her out to Riley Ranch to show her that entire facility, and we took her to show some of the code enforcement areas and other areas of the county. We had a work session on the small parks. Phil, I already had that on my list before you even brought it up, but we did have a work session on the small parks last week, and we will have another work session on that because we really didn't reach any conclusions other than there are some people that would like to help keep those parks open. I attended an Association of Oregon Counties Budget and Finance Committee where we approved moving the budget forward to the general, I think to the whole board and then the general membership in the fall. We had the Coos County Fair last week, which was that last week or the week before? The week before. Anyway, which was very well attended and nice to see so many people out enjoying the fair. And I also attended a Coos Bay Homeless Work Group meeting where they talked about changing some of their policies when it comes to camping and camping in public areas. And that's it for me. Commissioner Maine?
I think you covered everything.
Nice. I've been waiting my whole life to hear you say that. All right.
With that, thank you all.